What is up? Everyone, John here with another game from Sunday Evening Cup Series, SECS, and we have Jigga versus 5 Stars. This is actually going to be, let's count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th different team we've seen today, I believe, as we've been making rounds in this Swiss format, and 5 Stars was requested by people in the stream chat, so of course I did my best to get into it, and here we are. So we'll get to see Jigga again. Last game, they had a lead early on, had a really aggressive team set up, and they kind of squandered that lead as they moved forward and ended up being systematically dismantled by the opposition E+4. This game, we'll see if they try and revamp their strategy, maybe go with some different picks. Of course, always love seeing a Pudge hero selection, but maybe in a different capacity. We'll see what Jigga can do. They're against 5 Stars, a team I believe primarily South American, and have had some success in some of these tournaments. I recognized them from a while ago when I used to cast for another organization. They used to play pretty actively and quality players. So we'll get to see. Hopefully, this will be a nice, good game. We've had two pretty good ones on our hands so far in terms of action and decent lengths. And we could check out the bans that have happened already. So Jigga have taken out Bounty Hunter and Bat Rider, while 5 Stars take out both Undying and Magnus. They first picked Nyx Assassin, so similar to what we saw last game, Nyx Assassin being considered one of those first pick options. Darkseer is still in the pool. That looks like what they're going to have to give up in exchange for it, unless Jigga take another quirky route and go for some unique hero selections once again. But it's going to be hard to forego the Darkseer selection, as it is such a powerful hero, and it is available right now. We'll see if they want to take up Darkseer. They can always add in the Jakiro pick with it. They can add in Sven if they're going for more traditional lineups. So Jigga, the ball is in their court. They're down to 45 seconds in their extra time, and they haven't quite selected anyone up yet. So going to take their time on this first crucial decision. What do they want to put up against the Nyx Assassin? And Nyx Assassin, one of those support heroes that just works out very well, having not only a defensive move, but being very mobile across the map. A solid stun, the mana drain opportunities as well to contest any enemy carries that may come up against him when he's moving across the board. And they're actually going to pick up Rubik first. So Rubik, another hero we see oftentimes break into these first 3 picks for either team, just because anything against Rubik, I mean Rubik, if executed well, can have a great time against a wide variety of heroes. They pick up Jakiro second, so it's a little bit curious that they leave the Darkseer in the pool. We'll see if 5 Stars are going to try and jump on this and pick him up right now. They very well could pick up Darkseer and Sven now. Darkseer and perhaps TA. Jakiro, of course, works pretty well against Templar Assassin, but it's not a reason not to pick the hero. And we'll see what Jigga have in store for whatever the selection is from 5 Stars here momentarily.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
And they're actually going to their reserve time as well. So, both teams a little bit cautious. I think both teams sitting at a 1-1 record. It's a Swiss pairings format. I used to know what that meant. Kind of forgot. But I know that teams get to play more games, so that's good, especially for an amateur tournament. Well, SECS has been around forever, but nonetheless, it's still an amateur tournament. It does have prizes at the end of the season, but it allows more opportunities to play, and therefore, it's a nice little structure. It's like organized scrimming with a potential gain at the end, so can't really complain. They pick up Sven and Queen of Pain, so Queen of Pain oftentimes does get banned out in that second banning phase, so not a bad choice. They'll pick her up, and Sven, of course, no explanation necessary. He is the powerhouse hero that he has been for quite some time now, since 6.75. What is Jigga going to do to try and cope with that? Earlier today against Sven, we saw, of course, the introduction of Shadow Demon for Demonic Purge primarily. We also saw Naga Siren attempted against it for the Ensnare, but Sven did not mind at all. He still had a dominating performance and led his team to victory. Now we do see Jigga pick up Enigma. Enigma, a very solid hero. I'd say one of the better jungling heroes where it stands right now. And of course can do so very efficiently quickly and get involved in a big way in the lane. So I like him as a jungling hero. As a solo hero, it's a tall task. Against the Sven, against the Nyx Assassin, if that's where they want to try and use him, I'm not sure it's the best selection. So I'm going to bank on the fact that Enigma is probably going to be relegated to the jungle and be part of this tri-lane, which then might mean that Rubik is going to be solo middle against the Queen of Pain. That's not too bad of a matchup. I think both will fare decently in that matchup, if that is how it's going to line up once we get into the actual game. Of course, all just speculation from my end. So going into the second stage of banning, and Nyx is taken out by 5 stars. Shadow Demon taken out by Jigga. Interesting choice since it is commonly used against Sven. Perhaps they want to go for something like an Animage, in which case Shadow Demon is very effective against that hero. So taking him out allows them to have that option of picking up that really hard carry. Can do decently against the Sven. Well, 4th ban coming out momentarily from 5 stars. You have to assume they're going to be gearing towards banning out some supports and some carries, Nyx being the first of the carry bans. So they could look to perhaps take out Dragon Knight and Animage here. It wouldn't be too out of the ordinary. I do want to say, though, that Jigga looked very aggressive last game, so I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to go for perhaps a Juggernaut carry or something like that. They do take out Void. That's the one I was forgetting. Of course, Void very strong right now. So a good ban. Darkseer makes it through the first picking phase entirely. Now gets banned out. You don't see that happen very often at all. But Jigga just wants to make sure they don't let him get through, as he would be quite the value pickup at 4 or 5. And now the 5th and final ban for 5 stars. Will it be another carry or a support hero? They kind of need a support for themselves, so it leads you to believe they're going to continue to try and ban out the carries here. Juggernaut, Anti-Mage, Dragon Knight, all be decent bans. I wonder if there's one standout ban that really, a lone Druid perhaps. They're going to take out the Juggernaut, and that is one of the ones I thought that Jigga might have won for, and maybe it would have favored. But we'll have to see what Jigga are going to do in response. They take out the lone Druid. Now the 4th pick for 5 stars is coming up right now. They're going to try and round up. And what do they select here? It could be an offlaner or a support. Windrunner still in the pool. Beastmaster in the pool. Works well against Enigma, of course. The long-range roar. Having the extra vision as well. Windrunner, very solid overall. They're going to pick up Keeper to Life first, so they get a nice extra support to throw in the tri-lane with the Sven and the Nyx Assassin. And now Jigga with their 4th selection. Enigma, Jakiro, Rubik. I wonder if they're going to try and branch out, maybe go for something like a Gyrocopter here. There aren't that many hard carries available that you really favor in this scenario, but we have seen success in SCCS from Gyrocopters. Al Capone recently, about 2 weeks ago. Those VODs are available on my YouTube and also on my Twitch. He really did well, and there's a Windrunner pickup, so they decide to go for the offlane. Enigma is in the jungle, like initially suspected. And now 5th pickup from 5 stars is going to be Clinks. So Clinks is going to be the offlaner. Interesting choice there. A good hero. He does require a good amount of farm. They need to be able to create some 4-man Dota opportunities for Clinks to get his farm going, maybe play a little bit off of the team. And I think they have a squad that can manage that pretty effectively. If Clinks does want to get involved, he's going to have to pick up a lot of kills to compensate for the lack of CS he'll get in the top lane, unless it's an aggressive try, which you usually don't see aggressive tri lanes with Enigma. So I'm inclined to believe it won't be an aggressive tri lane. And Jigga with her final hero selection. The reserve time's low, so they're going to run out of time here, and they're going to pick up Morphling. Was that a random? Did they run out of time? Oh, it looks like that was their actual pick. So Morphling, a hero we haven't seen in I don't even know how long, is actually going to be played in this game. And I don't even know how this is going to work. Sven is going to in theory, tear through this Morphling. We'll have to see what he can do. I mean, if he gets his farm going, anything is possible. But really, Morphling is a shell of what he used to be. The hero that carried a lot of teams through the International 2. He isn't that anymore. So it's going to have to be an extraordinary performance from QTTP on this Morphling to carry Jigga through. I mean, we saw some unorthodox picks last game, but this one kind of trumps them all in one hero selection. Okay, here we go. Jigga versus 5 stars. Round 3 of the SCCS. I'm MY John. Thank you for joining me. We'll go and look at Jigga's team first. Oh, boy. We have A on Windrunner, QTTP on Morphling, Weedians on Rubik. We'll say HL on Jakiro, because I don't know how to make out whatever that stands for. And they're waiting for their 5th hero. That will be K on Enigma. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have 5 stars. 5 stars. Kazers playing on Queen of Pain. Kuya on Sven. We have Yugi on Clinks. P7NKI on Keeper of the Light. And Aztecs on Nyx. And it looks like we're ready to go. So about to get going live. Gonna see where they try and match everything up here. Could it possibly be an aggressive triangle lane? Sven is rotating up towards this top lane. Clinks would definitely fare better 1v1 on the bottom. That being said, Windrunner is still a pretty tough matchup. He picks up an early Wraith Band. So going to have some extra damage output there. And it is actually going to be an aggressive trial lane. So Enigma rotating down towards the bottom lane actually has laning items. So Enigma's not going to be in the jungle. I was wrong once again. My apologies. Windrunner looks like he's poised to go middle with a Null Talisman. A very bold item selection here from both teams. Quite out of the ordinary. And Rubik's going to be support. So they're going to throw this in and try and really make something out of this tri-lane. I think this is going to be a surprise for 5 stars as well. And you know, this is a half-decent tri-lane coming out from the Dire side. I'm not going to say they'll have any kind of advantage with what they're up against, but it's not as bad as you would suspect. And now the supports will spot him off as it's going to be a peaceful rotation from Queen of Pain towards the middle. Tri-lane starts get going, going to drop down the wards momentarily here. Actually switches them over to Nyx. And I think they saw this warded by the Dire, but they're actually going to ward here as well. And Jakiro poking his head in a little bit far. The ward's going to be on top of a Dire ward, so we could very well have some early counter warding coming on. A sentry is dropped here. We see Crystal Maiden wards are in play. They could throw down their second sentry to go ahead and take down this ward. Regeneration room picked up early by Clinks. He can rotate into the lane. And against Enigma, I mean, this is a pretty decent matchup once again for Enigma. Clinks is... his last hitting is very strong, of course, but he can't withstand very much damage. So Eidolons are going to pose a slight threat for him. And it's going to be good denying in favor of Enigma. I'm curious to see how the bottom lane will go. And we'll see. And that's going to be pretty crucial for Jigga because middle lane, Queen of Pain versus Windrunner. Queen of Pain's going to have a decent advantage here. Windrunner can last hit and get some last hits, but once again, Queen of Pain stands to gain more from this mid lane experience and mid lane farm. Let's bring up our last hits and denies as we do in the beginning of every game. See how things are going. Telekinesis is going to go ahead and toss back somebody. Looks like it was Nyx Assassin or Creep. Mana being drained out early on here, and it's going to be quite the dilemma for Morphling, who relies on mana for the majority of his damage output. Illuminate flies off, does some nice harass damage. In the jungle, we see Jakiro getting into things with Keeper of the Light. Bottom lane. Some nice harass damage actually coming out from Yugi onto K. K dropping pretty low. One more hit under the tower. It takes him down to 49 health. Yugi dropping pretty low in his own, but K's got to be careful down here. He doesn't have any salves left. I'm not sure if he started with any, but they're out of the picture, and now it's purely trees to try and get him back up. Flinks doesn't have any regeneration either, though, so perhaps an honest matchup going on in the bottom lane now. Middle lane, some harass out on Windrunner. Queen of Pain trying to assert herself early here. Power shot's going to fly off. It actually hits, and we'll do a nice job of equalizing some of that damage out. On the top lane, we see some counter warding coming into play. They actually take down a sentry and a ward, so a very nice placement on the sentry to take down a couple other wards over here. I believe these two sentries are just out of range of each other. And it looks like, let's see what the CS is early on. 5 for 2 on Sven, 4 for 1 on Morphling. Morphling also has a Wraith Band as one of his primary items. Now this camp is warded, but it's spotted out by the sentry, so going to be counter-warded in a moment. And that's going to be a little bit beneficial for the Dire side. Bottom lane. Clinks is doing very well. He's sitting 6 for 2 against 4 for 4 on Enigma. So he's having a good time down here. And these supports are standing very aggressively placed to try and contest anything. If perhaps pulls are coming out, if any supports are trying to rotate to create opportunities, Jakir constantly being pushed back by the threat from Aztecs on this Nyx Assassin. So very aggressive outlook, and in fact Rubik's going to pinch in here, maybe go for some damage. You do see the mana drain, toss him into the air, chained up with an Ice Path. They jump onto him, he pops off the spikes though in the carapace, and they turn around. They're going to try and take down Jakiro. He's dropping pretty low. 2 more attacks will do the job. Maybe 1 more. No, it looks like Kuya's going to get this kill though. And down goes Jakiro for first blood. Sven picking up an early kill. He's going to turn around and try and take down Rubik as well. Down goes Rubik, keeping the light, getting that last hit. And now Morphling, the last man standing from the tri-lane, has to retreat as he almost goes down too. And that was aggression just gone horribly wrong. And that's the problem with jumping on top of Nyx Assassin with the spike carapace. It's just tough to finish him off cleanly. Middle lane now, we do see Windrunner. 9 for 2 against 16 for 8 onto Queen of Pain. So this is kind of what I was trying to point at before. Queen of Pain's going to have a better time. More burst damage output. And of course, more harass damage as well as, I believe she has higher base damage. Yeah, and she does even with the Null Talisman on Windrunner. And now we do see a waveform over. They're going to try and apply some more pressure to Sven, but have to be careful as things got turned around rather quickly last time, and they can't really afford to allow that to happen again as they push the wave forward towards this tower. Some wards dropped off here. This is a lot of sentries going on. That's a big investment from these supports, but not a bad investment. Bottom lane, it looks like Enigma may be in a little bit of trouble. Clink's in hot pursuit with the level 1 in his Skeleton Walk. He's going to try and catch off Enigma here. Enigma does have Malefice, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it out alive. It depends how much spacing he gets on him with the invisibility. He doesn't have boots. Enigma does have boots, so in terms of movement speed, Enigma does have a slight advantage. But if he can get the strafe off before Enigma gets a couple Malefice ticks, perhaps a kill opportunity on the bottom lane. Meanwhile, middle lane, the lane is pushing towards Kazers. Should have an easy time picking up some of these last hits. 750 gold in the bank. As you may hear fire sirens in the background. Fire hydrants. Apologize for that. I don't know what's going on. And Unpoa is coming out, so we're going to get back into the game. Kuya and Aztecs standing forward in this top lane. Keep the lights there as well. Now Weedians spotted off. And the Dire are playing rather passively now, which they probably have to, considering how poorly that early exchange went. They have level 4 on Sven on the Radiant now, as well as level 3 on both of these supports, in comparison to level 2 on Jakiro, level 3 on Rubik, and level 3 on Morphling. So a nice little level cushion lead. It's going to translate into a good amount of damage output for the Radiant. And here they go. They're going to try and jump on Weedians here. And they're going to catch up to him. Stormhammer's going to be the first. It hits on him. Chained up. Are they going to get a stun from Nyx Assassin? It looks like they're reluctant to pursue as Kuya turns around. They take Weedians down pretty low. Telekinesis is going to try and toss him back, but he's finished off by Aztecs with the mana burn. Ice Pet's going to fly and slow down the further pursuit onto Morphling. Morphling's going to turn around. Maybe put some harass damage. Everyone's pretty low on mana except for Sven. Sven does have a Stormhammer ready if he wants to use it. Now Nyx Assassin also with the mana from Keeper Light has everything ready. Meanwhile, Kazers on the middle lane is going to check the top rune. It looked like Windrunner went up here to look for it as well, but decided to shy away from it, perhaps because of the fact that Queen of Pain maybe a little bit stronger at this stage of the game and gets the haste as she rotates towards the bottom. Still looking for the rune. Interesting, because it wasn't 6 minutes when he poked his head up at the top. If he had stayed there, he may have been able to get it. So, curious decision there. Morphling now on the side of the Radiant team members. He has to be a little bit careful of getting caught off here. Of course, he does have Waveform to retreat, but only 200 mana on him. Curious to see how much the Drain could do. Illuminate's going to come in here and deal a good amount of damage to Rubik. He gets stunned off by Nyx as well, and one more hit would do the job, but Telekinesis is going to slow them down, and he's able to eat up his stick charges, but the last hit does come in from Keeper of the Light. They get a nice kill, but Sven does get trapped as well, so it ends up being a good trade for the Dire. Sven for their support, but now Kaiser's coming in from the backside. He goes ahead and uses the Scream and the Shadow Strike, takes down Jakiro. Morphling could be the next target here. He has 500 health. And it looks like instead, Kaiser's not going to risk anything. He's going to rotate back towards the middle, having used up the duration of the haste to get that kill. And now Windrunner is going to get blinked on. Pop off Shadow Strike. Doesn't have enough mana for a Scream, and that's going to be the end of the aggression. Windrunner thinking about throwing out Shackle there. Wasn't in line with anything, so wisely cancels it. Let's check out how our bottom lane is going. And Clinks is actually leading the game in CS. So 30 for 3. I applaud them on this decision. It's going really well. Now here's the Maleficent on an aggression from Enigma. Can Enigma actually kill him is a question, and it doesn't look like it. Clinks is actually going to try and man up, and Enigma's in trouble. One more hit will do the job. The Eidolon's still trying to pound on some damage here, and Enigma's going to go down. Yugi picks up a solo kill on Enigma after Enigma tries to initiate on him. Clink's not going to stand for that. And a really strong effort. I thought Enigma could manage pretty decently down here, but it looks like he's having a tougher time. And now the power shot's actually off target after the shackle lands. And we see Aztecs coming in from behind on the Nyx Assassin to jump forward from Kaiser's. All they have is auto attack damages. Both of them are depleted from mana, and he can't afford to take attacks from the tower. So A is actually going to narrowly live as he retreats there. But you have to wonder if that power shot had hit, Kaiser's might have dropped. And to miss a disabled target, maybe he was flustered as he noticed the rotation in from Nyx Assassin, but nonetheless, that's a missed opportunity for Windrunner in a lane that's inherently tough for him or her. Top lane, they know that a support is not here. Wouldn't be too surprised if we saw them go on the aggressive. Morphling does pick up a Soul Ring that will allow him to cope with the mana drain coming out constantly from Nyx Assassin. And they just don't have enough damage output. They're going to toss Keeper of the Light back into them, and they might actually get this kill. So Waveform over. They get a kill on Keeper of the Light. Sven tried to come in and give him some armor, but it was not quite enough to save him. And as such, they will pick up one nice kill here. The kill lead is 7-2 in favor of 5 stars over Jigga. Now Kaiser's actually going to come up to the top lane. He has Sonic Wave available as well. If Waveform is used, this has to be a go signal. Kaiser's going to jump forward. He needs to get the Shadow Strike, which is level 2. Leveling Shadow Strike over Blink, but that's another topic entirely. Ice Path flies, so we'll catch Kaiser in his trails. They're pursuing really hard onto this Morphling. Morphling hasn't opted to morph Strength yet. Now the tower is draining down Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain gets pretty low, jumps behind. They're going to try and find her and kill her off. Meanwhile, Enigma was taken down on the bottom lane once again. And the salve pop by Rubik to stay alive for a moment. The Scream doesn't hit on Rubik. He's still alive. The Illuminate comes in. Everyone's just narrowly dodging these attacks. Kaiser's doesn't know what to do. He's going to walk into Jakiro here. Ice Path is going to fly in a moment. Can they get the kill before he kills anyone else? No. Kaiser's picks up the kill on Rubik. And now Windrunner picks up a kill on Keeper of the Light as he rotates in as well. But he's in trouble as the God Strength Sven is in pursuit of him. He finishes off Windrunner. Stun comes out from Nyx onto Morphling. Morphling's going to be in trouble. He attacks into the Spike Carapace from Nyx. And now God Strength, 2 more hits will do the job and takes down Morphling. Waveform not enough to finish off Kuya, but still, it's not over yet. Jakiro coming in. Kuya with God Strength active. 1 more hit will do the job, but the nice Fade Bolt just kills off Sven before Sven could finish Jakiro. And now Nyx Assassin going to Mana Burn onto Jakiro and get the last hit. And that's going to be the end of that long-lasting action, or is it? As they trap Nyx on the high ground. But they don't have... Do they have vision? I guess they do, and a power shot's going to finish him off. So well played by Rubik there. And before that started, it was 7-2. So 4 kills for the Dire, 5 kills for the Radiant. Ends up being in favor of the Radiant again, but nonetheless, an interesting sequence of events. With a couple crucial heroes going down for both teams. Now Windrunner may be in trouble here. Illuminate's going to fly off in a moment. Nice Shackle's going to catch Kaiser's in his tracks, but he's going to get a full Illuminate damage. Scream comes out as well. There's no Sonic Wave available, though, and as such, Windrunner will be safe. Now we see Clinks coming down towards the bottom lane. And Enigma's actually going to back up here. Aztec's thinking about jumping in on him, but I'm not sure if he was spotted off or had some inclination that he's down here. Now he's actually just going to go from under the tower. The stun comes up, but there's no immediate team support. So a little bit of a miscommunication there. Had Yugi been there, certainly would have been a kill. And a missed opportunity there for a kill on Enigma. Or maybe his invisibility was running out anyway and had to do it. It is only level 1 invisibility as he's just gotten level 6. So either way, not as effective as it could have been. As Enigma just turns around and just makes his way back into the lane. Does have those tranquils, so can sustain pretty effectively. Now 3 heroes at the top lane once again. They're matched up against only 2. So it's an opportunity for them to try and jump on, perhaps Keeper of the Light, get another kill here. They don't have any vision to know who exactly is here. They will spot off both Aztecs and Kazers as they rotate towards the middle lane. A by the tower, throwing off a couple of power shots. And now stun does fly on Morphling. Rubik steals off the God Strength and actually activates it because he was going to take another skill anyway. So Illuminate on Rubik. God Strength active on Rubik. Doesn't actually change colors, it looks like, so a little bit deceiving. Now Kazers is going to rotate in with a DD as well as Aztecs, trying to make something happen up here on the top lane. 4 hero effort from 5 stars. Going to try and go hard under this tower. And they're going to give some extra mana to Nyx. All heroes very careful. Enigma TP would be huge here. They spot off Nyx. They know something's going on. Still nobody TPing quite yet. The middle tower is being forced down by Windrunner, so they're going to try and get a trade out of this while a lot of time is being wasted by 5 stars on this top lane. They're not really getting anything out of it quite yet. And this is a little bit concerning. Rotation is going to come from Yugi. He's going to go to the middle lane and actually TP coming in as well. They're going to force Windrunner back. Tower is not in deny range, so that's a decent at least for the Dire team, and it did save them from an initiation on the top. Fade Bolt's going to fly. Sven gets really low on health. Wait for a moment, will do the job. It does finish him off. They do lose Rubik in the trade, though, and Illuminate does tick Morphling down pretty low. Ice Path flies off. It just barely catches Keeper of Light on the end of it, and that's going to be the end of the action there. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, though, we do see Yugi going to get that last hit on Enigma as he tries to TP back to his base, unable to do so. Kazer's going to blink backwards. Windrunner taking a little bit of harass damage from him there, but dishing some of his own damage out as well. Invisibility Rune is in the top river. Morphling's farm, he does pick up a Ring of Health, and now is going to actually build his boots. Going to pick up those treads. Let's check out farm on everyone else. Keep it light. Full support duty, as you would expect. Queen of Pain has Null Talisman, 1,300 gold. We'll see if she wants to go towards an Aghanims or perhaps something else. A little bit of D-warding coming out here from Coddle as he takes down one of the Obs wards from the Dire team. Middle lane, Kazer's going to be aggressive here, and by all means he should, because he's able to take down Windrunner pretty low. Level 2 on that blink. He's actually taking a lot of damage from this tower. Windrunner going to turn around and look for a power shot. This could be a reverse kill, and he gets it! Windrunner gets the kill onto the over-aggressive Kazers. Oh man, that just went really poorly for him. Top lane now, Ice Path rather. They toss Kuya back. Macropyre dealing a little bit of damage, not all too much. Morphling gets drained of his mana. Doesn't want to pop off the Soul Ring quite yet as it's all on cooldown. And they're turning around, perhaps looking to go in again. Sven does have enough mana for God Strength and Stormhammer, as Tex also has Arcanes up on him now. And here it comes. Stormhammer comes in. Mana's too low on Morphling. Here comes the hit from the ultimate, and an Illuminate does finish him off. Rubik gets pretty low on health. Aztecs get lifted into the air by the telekinesis. They turn around, try and finish him off. A couple more hits will do the job. Malphus done. He's going to go down to Enigma in a moment here, but they're able to finish off both Morphling and Rubik. And now Enigma's going to turn around, perhaps look for a black hole. He uses it on only Kuya, and Blinding Light will try and interrupt it, but it doesn't break, of course. And now Kuya drops really low, but Yugi's coming in. Kuya's just barely surviving. Yugi and Kazers join the fight. They take down Jakiro and Enigma. A is trying to retreat out of here. Can they get a slow onto him? Yes, the Shadow Strike will hit, and Kazers is just going to cease the chase after what happened in the middle lane, understandably so. Does not want to get caught out and give up a free kill again. QTTP comes in with a TP, and he's actually going to look for a kill onto 5 stars P7, but he's actually going to die here. It looks like one more hit, and down he goes. So a pretty greedy approach there. A comes in with Weedians. They're looking for a kill. Sonic Wave flies off from Rubik. It's enough to take down Yugi. And now the jump in for Quintapain, looking for the last hit on the tower, but she dies before she can get it. And it's going to be denied. A valiant effort, but turns into a feed. Oh, Kazers just couldn't get that last hit and committed so hard for it. Wow. And that really changed everything. Losing Queen of Pain and Clinks after having a really successful engagement. Jigga has to be feeling pretty good about that. I mean, a lot of things weren't going their way, but that's a little bit back in their direction. I'm sure if we look at the graphs, it'll show us a nice little lead for 5 stars. It does say around 3,000 gold, around 5,000 experience, and it definitely is a cushiony, nice early lead, but nothing insurmountable at this point. Sven is looking for a Mask of Madness, does have Drums of Endurance up right now. On the bottom lane, Malf is done on Aztecs. He pops the Invis to try and make it away, and will do so. Enigma may be in trouble, though, as Kazers is in pursuit. Level 3 on the blink now, so he can catch up, but a TP incoming from A, and he has a regeneration in the bank as well. If he throws off a random power shot, he may pick up a kill on Aztecs here. Nope, it's not quite on path. And Aztecs gonna miss a stun. They're gonna turn around and try and finish him off. It shouldn't be too difficult. And now they chain off the telekinesis and the Malphus stun onto Kazers. Finish him, and there goes the kill onto Aztecs. 2 more kills for the Dire team. And 5 stars starting to squander an early lead. Kuya comes in from the side. Hasn't finished off the Mask of Madness yet. He still needs about 250 gold for that, I believe. Recipe's 1,000. Yep. And they're going to throw off an ice wall here. It actually does catch Kuya. Yugi making his way to the middle of the fight will kill Rubik. A Stormhammer flies off as well. Yugi getting pretty low. A needs to be careful. Jakiro's going to go down. Do they have another stun? It's going to be up in 7 more seconds. Yugi has double damage up on him. And A turns around, actually very aggressively, comes back in here. Kuya gets shackled up to the tree. And the power shot does land on Yugi. Here it goes. 1 hit, 2 hit. He's hitting for almost 230 damage a pop. But it's not enough to finish him off. And as such, once again, A will get out of there safely. Malf is stun on Kuya, though, as he's caught in his over pursuit. I think he's going to get hit by a full damage Illuminate. They might try and turn this around. Kuya's really low on health, though. Power shot flies off. It's off target. And that's a little bit disappointing. Kuya just barely going to survive. 190 health on the back of him. And now Yugi looking to get aggressive again. Does have his Orchid finish. We saw that in the last instance. And here he comes well behind enemy lines. And they're actually going to go towards the river. Yugi, I'm not sure what he's doing from the high ground, trying to get some hits onto Jakiro. Jakiro's going to drop again. He is nowhere near the rest of his team. And an easy pickoff there for the Radiant side. Probably trying to do some warding, but definitely a little bit out of place in doing so. And I'm a little bit surprised Clinks didn't try and open up right away, because he saw that the Windrun was used already by Windrunner. And here it goes. Silence chained with a stun. Actually, Sonic Wave first is able to finish off the Morphling. And now Ace just trying to make it out of here. Once again, just narrowly surviving. He's waiting for the Windrun to run out. Yugi, 1 more hit, 2 more hits. Isn't enough to finish him. He still has a Shadow Strike on him. Will that damage tick him down? And instead, they're going to focus on Weedians, try and get him. And he does drop to Nyx Assassin. Jakiro comes back in and throws down a stun, gets hit by the Spike Carapace. Enigma coming in from the side, but this is getting really out of hand for the Dire team. Jigga needs to try and slow down and get a grip on this game. Otherwise, it's going to get too far away from them. Blinding Light comes out here. They're looking for some rebuttal kills, but now once again, we're going to see Jakiro drop. Queen of Pain picking up that kill. Waveform over does finish off Nyx Assassin. And they're going to try and retreat on the back end of that. Perseverance finish on Morphling. Enigma, though, is going to be spotted off, and Kazers is going to be targeted. They throw off a stun. Stormbolt coming in from Kuya. They finish off Enigma, and now Morphling's going to take a lot of damage. Queen of Pain does drop, but still in favor of the Radiant team. And it's just continued aggression, but misfounded for the dire side, rather. Stormbolt flies off once again, and down goes Rubik again. And now the kill lead is 28-15 in favor of the Radiant. And this is getting to the point where it's really getting out of hands. 5 stars are looking very solid. Jigga, their team play is looking a little bit scattered. Getting caught out with very staggered team fight, poor positioning perhaps. One by one marching into most of these situations. And it's really easy for a team with Clinks, a team with Sven, and Queen of Pain to really take advantage of any kind of poor positioning that the enemy puts forth. And that's what we've seen so far. Morphling just going to continue to try and farm, working towards what I'd suppose is Lincoln's, but it's still a long ways away. Silence used onto Jakiro, and Jakiro's dead. He just can't do anything. He can't even step out of the base at this point without being at risk to dying to this Clinks. And Clinks 12-1-1. He's having a phenomenal game. Yugi really imposing his will on the opposition right now. And Windrunner does pick up a gem. Will spot off Clinks here and retreat promptly thereafter. Medians comes in for support as this tier 1 is in threat of being pushed out here. Steals off a scream. I want to thank everyone who's tuning in. This is Jigga versus 5 stars Sunday Evening Cup Series. We have an engagement on the middle lane. A nice black hole is going to catch 2 Ice Panthers, going to chain it off. Oh, and even the macro fire is on point, dealing a good amount of damage, but Kuya's able to blink out of it. And they just don't have enough damage at this point to finish down these heroes. That was a really good opportunity. It just didn't pan out, and now 5 stars, you have to imagine, is going to have all the confidence in the world. Yugi perhaps a little bit overconfident, charging in here. He's going to turn around and try and deal some damage, but once again, they can't finish him. They can't punish this poor play from 5 stars, and now Sonic Wave is going to fly out. They're going to turn this around and try and make something out of it. Jakiro's already dead. Illuminate finishes off Rubik. Waveform forward from QTTP, but he runs into a Sven stun, and he's going to drop yet again. Windrunner retreats back towards the Ancients of the dire side, and she'll make it out and save the gem, but oh boy, 32-15. If we check out the graph, I'm sure 7,500 gold experience, 12,000 experience. Kuya's just going to return to the top lane to get some more farm. And this game may be over sooner than later, the way things are going for 5 stars. Aztecs is actually going to run right into Enigma here. Enigma drained of all of his mana. He does have a Soul Ring, though, so he can get one skill off, I believe, if he needs be. Instead, he's just going to run the straight line back. He knows that Aztecs doesn't have enough burst damage to finish him off, and he'll be okay. But Yugi comes in from behind and actually finishes him off anyway. And now he's going to go ahead and take down Jakiro as well. And down goes Rubik. 3 huge kills for the Radiant team. Crystal is up on Clinks. He's just dealing too much damage. I mean, A is going to go ahead and try and deal some damage back to the Clinks here. Still has that gem. Power Shot's going to fly off. Queen of Pain is going to force Windrunner back. Yugi not really afraid of anything the Dire are throwing at now, even though he's pretty low on health. Silence used up on Morphling. Morphling will have Waveform in a moment, but no kills for them there.
Can't do nothing about Dire structures right now.
And that's going to be that for the engagement. Top lane, Sven's going to push in. Sven about 400 gold away from finishing up his BKB. Will be a very nice little pickup for him there. And I mean, that's that. Windrunner's farm is stagnated. She doesn't really have one big item. We're 25 minutes into the game, and you hate to see it. You have to bring it up, though. I mean, it's a point of discussion. 4 for 1. She's done better than most of her team, but the CS isn't really there. And as such, she doesn't have 4 staff mech. She has an ultimate orb. Probably could have won for one of those other items, but committing to try and get, it seems like a Scythe of Vice, and without the consistent farm, it's just going to take far too long. And you wonder if perhaps if she had gone for 4-staff or mech, if the utility coming out from that item choice would have been a worthwhile and perhaps a little bit better than the early ultimate orb. Knowing that they were not really in a huge lead early on. They're pretty much behind. I mean, the tri-lane really struggled up top. Enigma, meanwhile, is going for that mech, so he's about 500 gold away from finishing it up. Illuminate flies off, does a good amount of damage to, wow, 3 heroes. And when it rains, it pours. Nothing going the way of the Dire team. They can't even get fortune with stuff like that. Nyx is going to get hit by a shackle, won't catch on to anything. So this gem serving a dual purpose in both Clinks and Nyx being spotted off. So I really like the gem pickup. That's not going to be a complaint of mine. Ice Pet flies off. It will hit on Nyx. Telekinesis is going to toss him back towards him as well. K just jumps in from the backside. He's going to look for a Sonic Wave, perhaps. K does have Black Hole available. Will he use it right now? It's only one hero, so nope. He's going to drop the Midnight Pulse. They'll finish off Nyx Assassin. But on the back end of it, it looks like Clinks has just been rolling over heroes. Down goes the third hero for the Dire team. Windrunner, Jakiro, and Morphling all go down. Now he gets hit by the Malphite stun. Kazers comes back into the fight. He gets hit by a Sonic Wave from Rubik, and now a Black Hole, but Rubik preemptively retreating. Yugi's going to finish off Enigma. Blinding Light pushes Weedians back towards Yugi, and he gets a crit. Down goes the Rubik as well. And Yugi is just in full control of this game. 21 kills. That is absurdly huge. And this one, 15,000 gold. I mean,
Might want to mine the top tower.
there's not much you can say about it. Already has his data list. So 27 minutes in, has 2,800 more gold in the bank. He is beyond enormous. And the rest of his team is going to just keep him alive at all costs. And they're going to roll to victory. And there goes easy little kill on Jakiro. Once again, you have to question a little bit Jakiro's placement. I mean, it's just there's no point to stand there. He has 12 deaths as well as Rubik does. Both those supports struggling mightily. And GG is called. And that's going to be it. Enigma calls out the GG. 5 stars handedly taking down Jigga. 41-18 in terms of kills. So an action-packed game. I'd like to thank everyone who joined me. I'm Emma John. This is Sunday Evening Cup Series, brought to you by NADO.com. And we had a pretty fun game, pretty one-sided. I mean, early on with the tri-lane, it seemed like there were opportunities for Jigga to maybe make it back in a little bit, but you could just receive too much farm and won the bottom lane decisively. I mentioned that that is going to be one of the crucial points of the game. If Enigma can hold his own down there, which proved to be more difficult than what it seemed, then perhaps Jigga would have had a stronger effort. I mean, certainly they would have had a stronger effort if he held his own. And it just wasn't the case, as Yugi took full advantage, got a couple kills on that Enigma. The aggressive tri-lane panned out for 5 stars. Middle lane, of course, worked well. I mean, credit to Windrunner. Despite the awkward item choices, he still played well. He didn't die nearly as much as any of his peers. And that's not the easiest thing to do when you're being rolled as hard as they were. So that's going to be that for that game. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Emma John. Like I mentioned a moment ago, this is SECS, and we'll have another game coming up for you shortly. I'm not sure how many more I'm going to cast tonight, but stay tuned after this one's over, and we'll figure all that nonsense out. As it looks like they're just going to well dive for days. Taking up a couple extra kills here and there. No problem.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
Scream of pain. And thanks to anyone who's been here for the entire time of the SECS. It's really nice of you to stay tuned and watch these games. And I mean, this is purely antics going on right now. Kazer's just melting him.
Sound you've ever heard.
I mean, Queen of Pain's farm wasn't even that through the roof. It was 6 deaths, a couple miscues on over pursuit and such stuff like that, but it's still solid play all around from 5 stars. And it just wasn't there for Jigga this game. They put up an interesting fight last game. Can't really say the same for this game. I think once again, perhaps just outpicked a little bit. Morphling, you know, there's a reason we don't see him as often, or really at all. and he just is a shell of his former self, as I mentioned before. And you kind of put yourself in an uphill battle picking that hero, believe. And it looks like Windrunner's still in the game, and 5 stars aren't disconnecting, so I'm just going to leave this game. I don't think there's any reason to stay and wait for the base to die. We can check out our stats before we go. Net worth, you see Sven leading the way, 11,000, excuse me. Gold per minute. Of course, Klink's leading the way, 591 gold per minute on the back end of 27 for 2 performance. And I'm not sure, the second death may have come from well diving. I wasn't paying attention. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next one. See you soon.